Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel where we learn everything ethical hacking. If you are just joining me, do well to hit the subscribe button, and of course don't forget to like, share and comment on my videos. And lastly, do turn on the notification bell so that you don't get to miss any of my updates. So we've been on an interesting series that says the pen test methodology, and we started from the recon phase down to, of course, the vulnerability analysis, and today we'll be looking at the exploitation. So for exploitation, I will be splitting it in tools. We will be learning the manual exploitation and also the automated exploitation. And for today, we'll be looking at automated exploitation, how you can perform exploitation automatically using tools like Metasploit. So I will be showing you how to go about this exploitation. So just a quick disclaimer, every information you get here is clearly for educational purpose, so you are liable for any action you perform with this information you learn on this channel. With that being established, sit back, sit tight, relax as we jump right into the lesson. Cheers. Alright, so to begin, we're making use of our Metasploitable lab, Metasploitable 2. I have it running here already. If you don't know how to set this up, I had taught you earlier on my subsequent videos how you can set up your Metasploitable lab. So all we need to obtain from here is our IP address. You can do an ifconfig here, or you can, on your Kali terminal, you can issue a command to look up all the active hosts on the local network, since they are on the same local network, right? So I've shown you two commands that you can use to look that up. You can do a sudo net discover or sudo appscan-l switch. I've taught you guys this. You can check up my previous videos if you still don't know how. So I will just hit enter, and we'll give you some time, and without delay we should have our information up and running. So let's just give it a little time. Alright, so our information is out already. I can just stop this. So as usual, disregard this, the .2.1. This is our guy here. This is the IP address of our Metasploitable 2. So I will just copy this particular IP address. So the next thing I want to do is to perform an nmap scan on that particular IP address to discover the active hosts and services that are running, of course, sorry, active ports and services that are running on the target. So I'll just do an nmap scan here. An nmap, of course, the target is it's active, but you can perform a ping if just to be sure that the target is active. I can use a -c switch, C4 switch. C4 stands for ping this particular IP address 4 times, right? Because if I don't include this switch, it will just keep pinging. Alright, but with the switch, it will only ping for 4 times, and it will end the process. So you can see from our 4 packets transmitted, 4 received, 0 packet lost, meaning we are able to hit this particular target. So that's what the -C4 switch stands for. Alright, so having established the fact that the IP address is active, the host is active, I will move over to our nmap. I'll just perform the -sc for script and for version. So I'm not adding much switch to this particular scan, so I'm scanning for the script and also for the versions, and this is our target. So I will just hit enter and give it little time for the scan to be completed. Alright, so you can see our scan result is up already. Let me just go up. You can, but the informations here are bulky and naughty as well. So you can see for port 21, you can see the state of the port is open. The service is FTP. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol, and this is the version that is running on that particular service. Alright, if I scroll down again, if I scroll down now, you can see FTP anonymous login. It's allowed here, and also port 22, 23 is running on Telnet. This is the services, but no version was found, and we can continue to see other ports. Port 53 is the services for domain. This you can see port 80 running an Apache web server, and other ports that you can find here. Port 111 for RPC bind, and port 139 for NetBIOS. You can see Samba SMB clients, and also lots of ports here. There are lots of juicy ports here, right, that we will be exploiting. Okay, so let's begin.
let's take the first port here, port 21. But before I go into this, let me show us something I've been talking about. I'm talking about FTTP anonymous login. When you see anonymous login allowed, this means that you can log into this port, particular port 21, without a valid credential. All you need is all you need to enter is anonymous as the username and password, and that will give you access into the device. But let's try that. Let's see. So to log in, I will just do FTP, specify our target. You can see 192.168.23.129, and I'll hit enter. Alright, so it's requesting for username and password. So I'll just quickly go back and copy anonymous. Just copy this, just copy that, and I'll paste that here as the username, and repeat same thing for password. And you can see we are logged in. I can just do a help here, and you can see these are some of the commands that you can perform on this particular host. Right, so we are logged in. You can see you can see put here. You can actually put like a shell here. You can put a script here to give you whatever thing you want to perform, pwd for present working directory, and many more. So there are lots of things you can do here. You can just look it up, but just to make something clear, this does not literally mean you have rooted this machine. It's good to know, because in some kind of CTF platform or CTF game, like in a capture the flag situation, when you log in like this, you might see the flag somewhere in any of these directories, but again, since this is not that kind of platform, you might not get that here. So because this does not literally mean you have rooted this machine, I can do pwd for instance. You can see we are on the remote directory. There's really nothing much that you can do here. We'll just quickly go back to our business, right? So I will just exit this. And I will just clear my screen. All right, so let's come back. So this is our port 21. Is running on, you can see open FTP. The port state of the port is open, the service is running FTP, and the version is version 2.3.4. and of course you can see other hosts as well, other ports and services that are running on this particular target, right? Okay, so let's start with the port 21. So I'll just take up this version and perform a quick vulnerability analysis. But you can see it's basically like we are going back in circles, because for pen testing, after conducting the recon phase, the next phase is the vulnerability analysis, where you should have done all this to know your the versions, the services that are vulnerable, so that when we come for exploits, it's just to go straight to the point. But just for the sake of this lesson, I will just repeat the vulnerability analysis phase for this particular target. Let's see if this particular version is vulnerable, and if it's vulnerable, to what end can we do with it. So I'll just quickly, it's my browser, I'll just quickly type vulnerability, and I'll specify the version. Now hit enter. So you can see the first one here is from Rapid7. Let's see, it's our version here. Let's see what they have to say. Alright, so from Rapid7 you can see backdoor command execution. It's saying that this particular version is vulnerable to a backdoor command execution, meaning an attacker can actually launch a backdoor command execution to this machine remotely and access. You can see the description. This mode will exploit a malicious backdoor that was added to the VSFTPD download archive. You can read about it, and if I scroll down, you can see the exploit as well, and how to exploit this. Let's come back. So we have our version here. But another thing I want to show you is that Nmap has a vulnerability register that we can use to just check up this particular version to see if it's vulnerable or not. So to quickly do that, let me show us something. We can just do Nmap. I will specify the ports. That was on port 21, FTP port 21. I will specify our script. and I will specify our target. So to analyze this is an nmap scan against this particular port 21, and this, you see the syntax at the switch here is a script to scan for vulnerabilities on this particular target. So it will scan this particular target to find vulnerabilities on port 21 only. So this is one way. I'll just hit enter and I'll give it time to load. Alright, so very quickly our result is up. You can see, let's see this result, port 21. It scanned the target against that particular port. You can see FTP VSTPD backdoor. Alright, so you can see vulnerable. Let's go. You can see the state. This is the version 2.3.4 backdoor here. The state is vulnerable and is exploitable. Alright, so you can see the CVEs as well. If you want to read up about this particular vulnerability, you can see the version here. This was the date this particular vulnerability was reported and the disclosure date, and you can see the exploit results. It will give you a root access. Upon exploiting this particular vulnerability, the attacker gets root access. You can read up other references about it. You can see on MITRE framework, you can see on GitHub and other repositories as well. So this is one way to perform vulnerability analysis on a particular port or service using nmap vulnerability register. So another thing I want to show us, let me clear this. There's something called exploitDB. So exploitDB is a web it's a website that you go to check for exploits and the likes, but on the terminal you can also, it has its own register on the terminal that you can use to search for vulnerabilities. So to do that, I'll just do sudo enter searchsploit, and I would paste. You can see sudo searchsploit this way, and next thing I will open a switch here. I will open a string here, and I will paste our vulnerability. You can see this version, rather. You can see this is the version that was running on the port 21 here. If I come back to my nmap scan result, you can see this is our version VSTPD 2.3.4, and you can see why I put this in a string is so that because of the space in between the VSTPD space 2.3.4, so that the system can treat it as one entity. That's why I put it in a string. So this particular command would search this searchsploit vulnerability register to see if this particular version has been reported and if it's vulnerable and what is it vulnerable to. So this is one way of checking this particular vulnerability register. So I'll just hit enter. Alright, so very quickly you can see VSTPD version 2.3.4 is vulnerable to a backdoor command execution. You can see the path remote. You can see VSTPD 2.3 backdoor command execution Metasploit. So you can see it's also vulnerable here and it can be exploited using Metasploit and also manual as well. So let's progress. With that being established, we know that our the version is vulnerable. So let's move straight to the exploitation phase. So I will just quickly clear this and I will launch my Metasploit. To launch Metasploit, you type msf console this way and you hit your enter. So this will start the Metasploit framework for you that we will be using to perform this particular exploitation. Alright, so we have our Metasploit table up, we have our Metasploit framework up and running. So this is Metasploit. So this is our Metasploit. What can you do with Metasploit? So you can see
it has about 2,397 kinds of exploits that you can use when performing your exercise.
Also for the auxiliaries, you can see auxiliaries, and also for post exploitation, that's more than 422 you can see here, and also for payloads. You know what payloads is all about. And we have encoders such as encryption to encrypt something. So you can see also for knobs, and you can see evasion techniques like how to evade firewalls and the rest. So these are some of the suits that comes with our Metasploit. So to begin, I will just quickly just type clear here. So let's come up. Alright, so I will do search, for instance, search, and what I want to specify now is that particular vulnerability, that particular version that was vulnerable. Remember, this was it, this VSTPD 2.3.4. we just copy this. So we're trying to search to see this. So all right, so very quickly you can see the result is out. Unix VSTPD 2.34 backdoor. So you can see the ranking. It's excellent here. You can see the date of the disclosure, 2011. This was the date that this particular vulnerability was reported. You can see descriptions here. Alright, so for the description, VS FTPD version 2.3.4 backdoor command execution. So we can see the ranking here is excellent, means we can trust this, it's good to go. So all I need to do now is to copy this particular exploit. This is the exploit we want to use. I will just copy this now, and I will come here. Next thing I want to type is use space, and I will paste that particular exploit that we copied here, and I will hit the enter. So you can see no payload configured. It's going to the default CMD Unix interact, right? So you can see now that our exploit has been specified here. This is the exploit we are using now, right? So I will just clear my screen again. So next thing I want to do, I can just do show options. Let's know what to set. So I'll just do show options like this, and let me scroll up so you can see. All right, you see what we need to set. The C host, the local client address, you can see no, not required. C port not required, proxies not required. So our host, which is our target host, we need to specify the target host, which is the IP address. You can see it's required here, yes. So the target host, and the target port is already specified here for 21. So all we need to set here is the R host, which is the target, our target. And you can see our payload, it used a default payload, but you can change this payload if you might want to, but it has selected its default payload. But again, you can change it. So all we need to set here is our target. But if we were to set payload, I'll just clear this so I can go move up. So if we were to set payload, I'll just do show payloads, for instance, show payloads, to see the payloads that we can use. So we have just one payload here. This is the only payload that we can use with this particular exploit, Unix FTP VSTPD 2.3 backdoor. So, but since it's the only payload here, the system has automatically selected it for us. So it's already using that particular payload. We'll just clear this, and we'll just do set our host, and I'll put our target 192.168.23.129. So this is our target. Select that so you can see our target has been set here. So when we do show info, so if I scroll, you can see our target has been set here and the port has already been set. So all I need to do now is to execute this particular exploit. So to do that, you can use the command run like this, hit enter, or you use exploit, this way, and I'll hit enter. So you can see very quickly, bound to 20 VSCPD user 3 please specify the password. Backdoor service has been spawned, handling. Alright, found shell. We got a shell here. You can see we are in. If I do ID here, for instance, you can see we are root. If I do who am I, you can see we are root, right? I can just clear this, for instance, and I can just do p print working directory. You can do an ls here. You can see where we are here, right? So I can just clear this, and you can just do ID again. You can see we are root user, and we can of course do host name. Let's see, host name, and we can see we are metasploitable. But if you notice something, we don't have an interactive shell, because you just see this is a blank, no interactive shell. By interactive I mean, let me take you back. You can see, for instance, you can see my heading here, Kali J, like this, something like this, to let you know which directory you are in per time, as the case may be. Example of what I'm trying to see: if I want to navigate into a particular directory, for instance, you can see now it's telling us that we are in the exploit directory. So this is like a more interactive kind of shell, but that is something that we don't have here, right? But we are logged in here. If we do our ID here, you can still see we are root. So but how do we get a more interactive shell? So there's something called spawning a TTY shell. So I will just quickly show you how to spawn a TTY shell. We will come back to our browser. And let's come back here. Just go back here and here. So I'll just change this. So spawning TTY shell. So let's see how to spawn a TTY shell to get a more interactive shell. So let's see if there's anyone from Pentest Monkey or Pentest Lab. Let's see. Oh, let's try the first one. Let's see if they have something we can use. So it's still loading. So there are always lots of shell to try. You can see. Let me increase my font. Okay, so you can see the first one. There are lots here. There's a one for Python. You can see Python here. You can see Echo here. You can see Bean here. You can see Perl. You can see Rupee, as the case may be. You can see Bash as well. But let's try the first one. I will just copy this. We're trying to get a more interactive shell, so I will just clear this and I'll just paste that. Oh, it didn't copy. So let me come back here again. I'm not sure why. Let me see. Copy. I want to be sure I copied just the right information. Let me try to paste it somewhere else just to be sure that we did copy the right information. Let me see. Oh, we copied more than. I'll just try that again. So where is it? Okay, so okay, you can see we have copy here now. So I can come back to terminal and I'll just paste that. So this is what we copied, right? So I will hit enter. But now you can see now we have a better interactive shell. So I can just clear this. You can see we can just do an ls here and you can see it's more looking like it now, right? We can navigate into the home directory, and from the home we can do an ls there to see what we have, the msfadmin and the likes. We can navigate into user directory, just we can see everything we have there. There's nothing here. So this is how to perform automated exploitation using Metasploit. So we've been able to route this particular machine Metasploitable to via the automated method. So in our subsequent lessons I will be teaching you how to perform this particular exploitation using the manual method. I do hope you find this particular lesson helpful and resourceful. To see you all in my next video. Cheers.
Alright, so with that being said, we've come to the end of today's lesson. If you're just joining me, please do well to hit the like button, and of course don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you all in my next video.